Hi, good evening, everybody. So, I want to talk about how important it is for students to learn accurately when they are in foundational classes like crash and the nursery section. It is very, very important because that falls into primary, and when they don't learn from experts, it pours into secondary. And then that's where you get to see children having issues, even from primary, spelling, And I'm not saying that we don't have developmental issues, such as, developmental delays and all of that in composite. I'm also saying that, however, I'm saying that it is easier when students have an expert that handles them from those ages. I'd also suggest that parents employ the services of competent teachers to help their kids at home, because there's this disparity. We all know there's a disparity with children who have extra lessons at home and those that do not at school. However, if you have a teacher that is an expert and that is competent on all sides, or no, that has an authority in the subject they teach, the discrepancy will not be so much. The discrepancies will not be so much. So I'm prepping my kids for a competition, a spelling competition. Then I noticed that they spelled somehow, and then I had to. This comprised of students from SS3, SS1, S2, and some classes, some JS class, some junior classes. Then I noticed how they spelled. And then if I asked them to spell water, they'd say Water. And I know that English doesn't have R. English does not have, does not spell it that way. And they spell Water because the vowel there is R and not R or R. So please teach your students, employ the use of the IPA, make use of the standard phonemic transcription. You know that it's R. So we had to go back on the letters and their phonemic, on the standard pronunciation as well as their sounds, because they pronounced H wrongly. They would say H, H. They pronounced O, which is a closing diphthong, as O, O. They say O instead of O, go. So, and R as R, or R. Please, teachers, let's do our part. Let's make researches. Let's watch videos. Let's be better in all areas and see that these kids become better. That's it for today. Bye.